list? What is this? LUNCE'S list? LUNCE'S list. Oh. LUNCE'S list of 5. LUNCE'S list of 5. LUNCE'S list of 5. LUNCE'S list of 5.
John, name the 5 most impactful movie villains that you've ever witnessed throughout your entire lifetime. That is the category here. Probably pretty easy to come up with 100 choices,
Correct.
1,000 choices potentially. And I want you guys playing along with the home edition of LUNCE'S List to submit your answers. Best movie villains ever. Who would be on your personal short list? As John, you probably had a lot to think about creating your own.
I did, and so I think there's a very different list between who are the best movie villains and who are the most impactful to me that I've witnessed in my lifetime, because movies I've watched, it very much depends on when you watch them. So I feel like you're a big Halloween fan.
I am.
Because of when you watched it, how you watched it originally, and how it ultimately ended up coming into your life. So with that, there's some, I'm sure, on this list, it's like, how does that person make the list over blank? Because, you know, I also think a lot of times if you see the full story of a character as opposed to like one movie, it totally changes my opinion of them, even though at the time it may have been more of an impactful villain. This also could just be straight up comic book villains or something like that. I didn't necessarily go with that route either. So this is definitely not the best movie villains. But you know, this is just how when I viewed a movie that I can be like, man, that guy's evil.
Can you explain to me the message that's currently up on the LUNCE'S List board? Because I'm trying to figure it out.
The AHSA Executive Director, Alvin Briggs, retired today.
Oh.
And I'm just putting my name out there if they want to hire me. Been involved with high school athletics since I was in high school. And, yeah, if you want to vote for me, it's not a vote. But if you want to, you know, message the people in Montgomery and tell them, hey, John would be a pretty good AHSA Executive Director. He loves high school sports. He supports all of the children of Alabama.
That is the people of Montgomery at AOL.com, right? Is that where people should send their messages of support?
Yes. Call 555-5555.
Don't call that number, please. Okay, let's get up to the board, and we'll clean off that campaign slogan, which needs a little bit of marketing work, I think, Spud, if he's going to end up securing
I'll
the job.
vote for him. I'll be his campaign manager. Yes. I'll drive down to Montgomery and talk to the powers that be. The villain, as it is.
We have we have Steven that says, I'm in, John. Print the signs, Lunce for Prez. So there you go. Okay, we're looking at the 5 movie villains that have stood the test of time with John Lunsford.
Number 5, the Emperor.
Emperor Palpatine. Let your hate run through you.
Emperor is one of those words I always misspell. I always move the O and E. I don't know why. But I had to look back and make sure I spelled Emperor right. That's the bad thing about writing on the board. Is I don't have spell check on the board. Like Tyrell. So, Darth Vader maybe is the most iconic villain from Star Wars. But for me, having seen the movies plenty before the prequels came out, jumping into the prequels as my first go to the theater, fully experience Star Wars experience.
And you've been rewatching the prequels too.
I have. I'm actually all the way through all of the episodes. I just started episode 9 last night. But which I still say is better than the prequels. But
Palpatine comes back in that.
The thing is, Palpatine is evil from day 1 until the last day when he goes down in episode 9. Maybe, because we thought he went down in episode 6. So,
episode 9 is a hot piece of garbage.
So
just wait until they bring him back for episode 12.
Yeah. He's evil at the beginning. I know he's seen as good to a lot of people, but you clearly see from the beginning that that's the Emperor. It's the same actor, all that kind of stuff. Then, of course, he's evil with the original trilogy when Anakin is not evil at first. He's a misguided kid, basically, who has a lot of midichlorians that help turn him bad with all that misguided steering.
Has that not been retcon, the whole midichlorians thing?
It's in the movie. So
sorry, I'm just pointing out the obvious.
But bottom line, who was the one that turned him into Darth Vader? The Emperor. Who's the one that Darth Vader then turned good to kill? The Emperor. And, and then Kylo Ren ultimately was good too. So everybody ultimately ends up being good, except for the Emperor. So the Emperor, when it comes to the most impactful villain from a multiple generations, 3 different generations experiencing these movies, he is by far the most manipulative person and the most impactful villain when it comes to the Star Wars universe.
That throne room fight in Return of the Jedi still holds up. It's still so good. I'm more of an Empire guy. You're more of a Jedi guy, but I can understand why Palpatine would be on this list, you being as big of a fan of Return of the Jedi as you are.
And for everybody that hates the sequels, his ultimate evil was apparently bringing Rey into the world through her parents, because that's his granddaughter. So if you really want to be mad at him, be mad that he brought the whole... I mean, I know they made that up as they
There's
went along.
no way they started episode 7 going, here's how this is going to go.
But
no way.
If you really want to hate him, then hate him even more for something
See,
like
I
that.
felt like including Palpatine in episode 9 was just a way to get people back in after they made everybody mad with episode 8.
They definitely made it up as they went along, for sure.
I feel like if we put the right smock onto Spud, he could pull off a Palpatine look. Give me your most grimacing look right now.
You think I know anything about what you've said?
I'm just telling you, look angry like you do right now, but to a 10. That's it.
Yes.
Now do this with your hands, Spud. Do like that with your hand. Oh my gosh. It's a dead ringer.
Dead.
Shake your hands a little bit. Okay. That's how George Lucas gives direction. I'm going to do the same.
I don't think
here.
I'm going to hit the villain list.
Let's go number 4 on Lunce's list. Who knows? There may be something on
What are
here
the
that you
odds I
connect
will
with.
know any of these?
Well, I mean, you win trivia almost every time you're up here. You've got a 2-1 record. I don't know why you think you don't know things. You drink and you know things.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4. I can't see. Cal Hockley. This is from Titanic, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Billy Zane's character in Titanic.
Now, this is a pretty panned performance, but let me tell you, Billy Zane takes this performance to an 11 and never comes down off of it, and I love every bit of Billy Zane's performance in Titanic.
And he is, as much as the iceberg, I guess, is the villain, he is the villain of that movie. And he definitely makes you root for the love of God, Rose, go with Jack. Don't try to live that rich lifestyle that he does. I think he played it very well. And, the attraction between Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet is one thing, but the detestment of the relationship she's in when it starts is the other thing. And it's the perfect portrayal of everything you hate about like rich, snobby people, especially back in the day where, they separated them on levels and all based on their wealth and everything. So I really like Kathy Bates in that movie. From
The unsinkable Molly Brown.
From her being kind of the good version of that. And her and him, when they're on screen together, which is not all the time, but when they're on the screen together, I think it's a really good kind of good and evil from the rich standpoint of view on that. But have you seen Titanic, Spud?
No.
You haven't seen Titanic?
Are we going to do this again?
I'm sorry,
Every time I
but
come on.
this is like a
you want to
classic.
ask
I don't
about Shawshank Redemption?
No, I don't want to ask about Shawshank Redemption.
I don't think you should.
Okay. Can you do me a favor, make your Emperor Palpatine look again? Can you do it? And now can you say, do it? Say that.
Do it.
Oh my gosh.
Do it.
Guys,
You think I could get the role?
Tyler, I think we've got a star in the making over here.
I think
6-pointed star.
we need to remake Star Wars in the studio right now.
Do it.
Okay, great stuff there.
Anyway.
Palpatine and Cal.
I thought he was a good villain.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's one of the biggest movies, most successful movies of all time. Every good movie has a good villain in it. So
Cal Hockley coming in at number 4. I promise you.
also where it came in. So I was 10 when this came out. So this is one of the first big go to the theater movies for me. Obviously, as big as it was, that I remember experiencing and remember thinking, man, that guy's a butthole at the end of it all. So this is more of, once again, kind of the impactful Little John at the theater, seeing it play out as opposed to just staying at home or being older or whatever.
He's a horrible shot, but a bad guy for sure. Cal Hockley.
Yes.
All right, number 3 on Lunce's list, we're looking at the most villainous characters that John has connected with over the years, that maybe scarred him as a young tot or has inspired his love of cinema by just how villainous they were. Number 3, HAL 9000. I did not exclude this from today's list.
I literally wrote, you didn't tell me to leave it off, so I'm going to go back to it. Most terrifying AI robot ever conceived.
Spud's got to know about this. He loves the 60s. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah. I didn't
nothing.
see it.
Okay. I've never seen Spud more disappointed after getting a win, by the way. Go ahead, John.
I'm just
Sorry.
soaking up knowledge here.
Anyway, it's, space is a terrifying thing. And so when you go out and then, get locked out in space because Hal doesn't, wants you to live, basically, then it's terrifying. And everything,
Open the pod doors.
Everything
That's
that
the one?
happens in
Is
that.
that right?
Sort of.
Sure, yeah.
Not
Okay.
line by line, but yeah.
All right.
But yeah, no, it's terrifying.
Okay, nothing else needs to be said
I
there.
talked so much about 2001 Space Odyssey, I feel like I don't really have to explain that one because you told me didn't have to leave it off.
That's fair. Number 2 on Lunce's list. HAL 9000 coming in the 3rd spot. Cal Hockley from Titanic in the 4th. The only time I promise you that Billy Zane will make Lunce's list. At number 5, the Emperor from the Star Wars saga. At number 2, I can see nothing, but it's short.
Thanos.
Ooh.
So there's going to be...
Hold on. You have number 4 as Thanos. You need to cut that
Oh.
in half, just like Thanos does the population. Am I right?
Your category is math.
And you
wanna
lost
pass
3
it?
points.
You lost 3 points.
I saw 3 and I was like, after 3 comes 4.
See?
That actually, my Thanos joke was perfect right there to save the day.
I did it on purpose. All right. Thanos,
was a good
I feel
script,
like,
Tim.
is on.
Thank you.
Thanos would have to be on a lot of lists, probably a number 1. My number 1's a deep cut, and everybody's gonna be like, "Pfft, that's stupid." But Thanos, I think, would be number 1 on a lot of people's lists.
Richard said, oof, I had Thanos number
Well,
1. you know?
everybody's going to say your list is dumb because you don't have Darth Vader and Anton Chigurh, and those are the 2 most popular in
We
the
have
chat.
more time. We have more time.
Well,
Calm down.
no, I've already said on this show I have not seen No Country for Old Men. I do need to see that. And I literally went through a whole thing about why I didn't have Darth Vader on the list. I had the Emperor instead. So that kills both of those arguments.
Sorry, guys.
This also does not include. I mean, there's plenty of movies I haven't seen that I'm not going to include on here. Sorry, I haven't seen Monty Python either. My bad.
We know.
Haven't seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and still thought it was from that. Thanos is cool.
Wait,
That's it?
hang on.
That's all you got?
Run that back. Did you say you haven't seen Willy Wonka and the
Or says
Chocolate
he
Factory?
has.
I have.
Okay.
Open your ears. Good Lord. I thought I was the dumb one here. Anyway,
Wow.
I lost today.
I can
Yeah,
tell.
we can tell,
Salty.
John.
Your composure was also lost
Switch
in
from
this.
salty to bitter.
Thanos
What does
is-
that trophy look like over there, Spud?
Oh, it's
Thanos
a
was
shiny
cool.
thing here.
I don't know. We didn't get trophies and we won.
It'll be up for grabs again
Spud,
next Wednesday. But
say this for me into the microphone. Execute Order 66. Say that.
execute Order 66.
All right, you got 66 today, John. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, continue. Thanos, yes. Marvel Cinematic Universe, the big bad. They haven't been able to replicate any level of threat that people care about past Thanos. A lot of people wonder if Iron Man's coming back into the MCU. I wonder, did we get Thanos back in the MCU at some point? I know
If
we
he
kind
ever-
of got him in What If, but I don't count
If he ever
that.
does, it'll be as a good guy, I think.
I
Good.
could see
Well,
that.
good as in he's battling who the ultimate bad is, whether he's fully aligned or not. That's a different story. But the enemy is my friend kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do it. But if they ever did, it would be something like that. I think there's more of a chance of having Cable back than Thanos
Oh, by
being
far.
Josh Brolin. So,
far.
not that he couldn't do both because it's a lot of CGI and all that. But anyway, Thanos is cool. Thanos also right about a lot of the things that he preached. So,
I know you'd like to cut this room in half right now.
that makes it'll just be me and Spud in here.
God.
I didn't
Wow,
even
that was
sneeze
a
this time.
Heck of a sneeze. Over there.
But anyway, Thanos was right about a lot of things. He just went about it the wrong way. But because he was right about a lot of things, it made him even more terrifying because it's like, kind of get where he's coming from. Anyway,
Okay. Well, this got dark. Let's go with number 1 on Lunce's list, unless you feel like you have to get to your honorable mentions right now.
I do because everybody's going to be, I can't believe you didn't include this. Okay, I've not seen No Country for Old Men. My bad.
It's on his watch list.
I have 2 honorable mentions that were close to making the list. My number 6, and you'll be like, I can't believe you didn't include this on the list, is Biff from Back to the Future.
Oh, one I recognize.
Of course, Back to the Future is the one. We got to get in that conversation again. Biff is a butthead in it and says that word a lot too. But Biff from multiple Back to the Futures. Amy from Gone Girl. My only reason this didn't make the list is because I already kind of knew by the time I saw it. And look, it's a really good movie. I finally seen it now. It's a really good movie. But probably didn't have the same impact if I had gone to see it in the theater for the first time.
Fair. That movie came out the same weekend as Annabelle. And as a horror movie fan, I had to make a decision. Do I go see Gone Girl or do I go see Annabelle? I chose to go see Gone Girl, and I made the right decision.
Yeah, that was the right decision.
By the way, Gone Girl, directed by David Fincher, who also directed 1997's The Game. with our retro trailer reaction. You can check that out on the channel.
It all ties back together every time.
Let me tell you about my dentist. Anyway, go ahead.
By the way, the people that did No Country for Old Men is in there a lot, but not that one. I asked if we could do movies we haven't seen in there, and you said no, it needs to be a movie that you've seen.
For this?
For the retro thing.
No, for the retro thing.
And so I was going to put No Country for Old Men to force myself to watch it in there, but I didn't put it in there. But the Coen brothers do make an appearance. Agent Smith from The Matrix. It's kind of a virus spreading kind of thing. Hannibal on there. I've only seen Silence of the Lambs, but that's good enough.
That is correct.
It's the best one anyway, by far.
Voldemort from literature.
I got it.
How long have you been holding on to that one?
I mean, I
got
had
it.
it
Fantastic.
on my list.
That's a deep cut.
Scar from The Lion King, who's actually being played by my number one.
The Lion King, the highest grossing Broadway musical of all time. We learned that today.
Yeah, boy, I just built it up here. T-1000 from T2, and then Percy Wetmore. You know who that is?
Percy Whitmore.
Wetmore.
Percy Wetmore. Is that the bad guy from... It's a comedy in the 90s, right?
No.
No?
He is the guard from The Green Mile
Oh.
that is like the super evil guard.
Yeah.
He was an evil dude. You know I love that movie.
Pretty bad when... Is it Edward... No, is it Edward Norton who's in that movie? The Green Mile?
No.
Who am I thinking of?
Sam Rockwell's in it.
Sam Rockwell.
That's the one he kills.
Sam Rockwell. He's a pretty bad dude in that movie, too.
He is. But Sam Rockwell actually the one that did it, and they find out, and then they still kill him anyway. I spoiled it, but it was like 30 years ago. And there's one I didn't include on the list, and we have been over this multiple times, I feel like, in our lifetime. And the whole reason this list came about was because of Joker. And, you know, The Dark Knight is not my favorite movie of all time, so that one is not going to make the list. I wrote it as an honorable mention to make sure to mention that, no, I don't have him on my list. I've seen him be number one on people's lists here, but I liked it. It's just, you know, it's kind of the DeLorean. It's like, yeah, it doesn't quite make the list. I didn't dislike it, but everybody's going to think, I can't believe you hate the Joker from The Dark Knight. That's not necessarily the case. It's just not. It's third of three of me from those movies.
You do prefer Tom Hardy's Bane over Heath Ledger's Joker. You can be honest.
In general, yeah.
Okay.
And I
You can
prefer
be
Batman
honest.
Begins over The Dark Knight, but
Okay. I mean,
to be fair,
it's
so
not a
you-
criticism. It's just
yeah, we've had this conversation. When I point here, I'm pointing to the chat.
yeah.
We have not had that conversation with them. Therefore,
know.
all these
I'm
people are like, I can't believe you didn't put the Joker number one. Because I've seen it pop up number one on lists.
Okay.
I'm just getting it out of the way. So when I put somebody nobody's ever heard of on number one, which is what I'm going to do,
This is a once. I'm not arguing at all. I'm just saying okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm not arguing either. I
setting the
like
stage.
Batman Begins more than The
As
Dark
he
Knight too.
approaches the board to put number one, I'd like to offer a couple of that I thought might be on there.
Please,
Hans
Spud, we would love to
Gruber?
hear from that.
Oh,
Hans
Hans
Gruber from
Gruber.
Die Hard,
not a giant Die Hard fan.
And
I have seen it, but
Ivan Drago.
from Rocky IV.
not a big Rocky fan, as I've
Love Drago.
also stated on the show.
Drago would probably make my personal list of top 5 favorite movie villains.
You know, let's just say before we wrap up Lunch's list, we've had these conversations a lot. I have a very different movie palette from a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's
So,
not a bad thing. I
I'm
think
just
that's a
saying.
good thing. It creates good conversation.
I feel like the typical tops of a lot of lists I don't typically do.
Is the chat being rough on you? Is that what's happening here?
Every day.
Oh, yeah.
The first thing I see is Pittsburgh in the chat.
Yeah,
in the chat
Steven says,
after mentioning
"Ooh,
Bane.
Pittsburgh.
I mean the real Bane,
Can
not
we
the Ryan
please
Brown
go
Bane.
1 week without mentioning that reference?
I don't
No.
know
He
if we can go
literally-
one
He
day.
literally never says "ooh Pittsburgh." That's the thing that makes me so angry. It's not even movie accurate. Spud, you don't know what
He
we're
didn't even
talking
say
about.
Gotham.
Oh,
in
I
it.
thought you were
didn't
talking
say-
about Roberto Clemente or Willie Stargell.
Way off. Let's go with number 1 on Lunce's list. Who could number 1 be? I feel like there's been so many people thrown out there. He said we'll have no idea who it is.
It's a cinch I won't.
I'm using this as a chance.
Loose.
I love Loose.
Yeah, you have no idea what that is.
No, it's no, I don't.
I'm using this as a chance to promote a movie I think everybody should watch. It's a movie called Loose. The main character's name is Loose. Shocker, I know. So this is played by Kelvin Harrison Jr., who most recently was B.B. King in Elvis. He is doing the voice of Scar in the Mufasa movie that I think is coming out this year, like towards the end of the year.
That is supposed to be the case. Yes.
This movie is a neon movie, I believe. I saw it at Sidewalk. It was my number 2 movie, I believe, behind 1917 in 2019, I believe was when that came out, which also is when Joker came out. Believe it or not, me looking up Joker is what, I got to put that on. That's definitely it. I don't think I've ever left a movie so angry at a movie character than I did with Luce. His name is Luce Edgar. His parents are Tim Roth and Naomi Watts. They adopt him from a war-torn country in Africa. He comes over, and it's basically him versus Octavia Spencer, who is his teacher in high school. And the back and forth between the two of them is incredible. Octavia Spencer is incredible in everything she does. But
except presenting at the Academy Awards.
And except Thunder Force, which there's a common problem there. But it is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Is all because of Kelvin Harrison Jr. He tried to live it up or follow it up with Waves. I don't know if you remember that movie. Didn't get quite the same buzz. But he started to play some more main king things. Like I said, he was in Elvis, and he's in the new Mufasa movie as well. But it is a movie I highly recommend everybody go watch. He is super manipulative, evil. It's basically a psychological thriller movie.
Wow. It was not promoted with that level of intensity, I don't feel like.
It was not promoted really much at all.
Yeah. I remember seeing the trailer, but I never got this whole vibe you're spinning right now.
Because it was an independent movie. I mean, definitely. But I highly recommend everybody go watch this movie. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Let me throw one out, and Spud, you tell me if I'm on the right track, if this is something that you know. Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I've seen that, and she was detestable.
I mean, I feel like that's not, I'm not arguing it for Lunce's list. I'm arguing it for what would be on my personal list.
It's on the list.
And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
It's on the list
I think
to watch.
you'll
Great movie.
I saw it pop up on Netflix one day, and I almost tried to watch it, but I haven't yet.
I think you'll enjoy it. You got to be
in that mood.
No pun intended, in the right mindset. But I'd give myself some credit for that one. I'm sorry, but it's that's a performance that I think that didn't they do like a spin-off television series of just Nurse Ratched?
They did.
They did
Starring
one. They did.
Sarah Paulson on
Was-
Netflix.
Sarah
yeah.
Paulson.
Was
from
Jack
American Horror
Nicholson the
Story.
villain in The Shining?
Jack Nicholson was the villain in The Shining, technically, yes.
Okay.
To be fair, when he brought up Clockwork Orange, he's like, you got to see more Kubrick. You like 2001. I didn't care for The Shining either.
I'm gonna throw out another
Oh,
one.
man.
I'm not a Jack Nicholson fan. Really, Departed is the main thing I like him in.
I forget the name of the actor who plays him, but the bad guy,
Also
the
play Joker.
British leader in The Patriot. That guy
Oh.
can go. I love watching him
God, I got to remember who that was.
fight Mel Gibson towards the end of that movie because there's so much pent up rage with what he did throughout the course of that film and how detestable he was. Do you know the actor's name?
Didn't Heath Ledger play Mel Gibson's son in that?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't pick a single horror movie villain like Freddy Krueger.
He's not a horror movie guy.
Okay.
It's not it's Lunce's list, and John's not a horror movie guy, and that's
Okay.
fine.
I mean, I
Tim is
didn't
very,
know.
very much separating himself from this list.
I am separating myself from this list, but it's okay. I would even throw out,
Is it
we're gonna-
Jason Isaacs?
Jason Isaacs. Fantastic in The Patriot. Made me hate him so much.
By the way, great in the OA, which is another really lesser known show on Netflix. I highly recommend.
Gosh, I hated him.